YouTube, it's me, the Student Witch. I'm going to try to film this video while we still have some natural light. It's a beautiful day up here in the cold Northeast. So this will be my second video in my shadow work series. I have created a playlist for that, and my first video talks about how my card of the year is the Devil, and how that is a shadow work card. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. And here soon my tea kettle's gonna go off. But yeah, so this video is going to focus on the different types of paper products and journals that I work with. And there's my tea kettle right on time. I'll be right back. Okay, I have tea brewing. Try not to spill it all over myself. And I'm drinking the Celestial Seasonings honey lemon ginseng green tea. It's fucking delicious. Okay, I'm gonna let that brew. So paper products and journaling. I'm inspired by a recent video by Kelly-Ann Maddox on her channel where she talks about stationery and all of the different journals, notebooks, calendars that she uses as a witch, as a businesswoman, as a creative writer and artist. And I mentioned in my first video of this shadow work series how by focusing on shadow work, I have discovered the art and power of writing shit down. Writing things down, whether they are dreams, thoughts, inspirations, negative thought patterns. It's just a great way to externalize it, to like get it out of your head and on a piece of paper, acknowledge it, work with it, burn it if you need to. I have burned and I have even flushed paper down the toilet in different types of spells and rituals. So yeah, it's just the power of writing shit down so you can work with it however you need to or choose to. So I feel that's really important for shadow work. So before I get too serious, I bought a calendar today. Check this shit out. Okay. Space Cats 2016 calendar, and I got it 50% off, so I got it for $7.50. Is that not the most wonky thing you've ever seen? A cat in a spacesuit on top of a taco with a cat with a sombrero, and all the images are like this. I think one of my favorites is the 4th of July, or the July. You have Uncle Sam cat on top of a pile of french fries, and then two cats sitting on top of a hot dog watching fireworks. I don't know if you can see that because of the glare. Yeah. Another favorite is the March for St. Patrick's Day. A St. Patrick's Day cat with a pink feather boa sitting or standing on top of a bacon cheeseburger. It was just so out there, I had to get it. Another thing that I do that I think is part of my shadow work process is I write letters. The vast majority of the letters that I write are for my husband because, you know, being in a long distance relationship, you have to work extra hard to make that relationship work. You know, living with your partner can be hard too because you have to compromise and, you know, give some stuff up or demand other things. And, you know, anybody who lives with their partner knows, you know, the true meaning of the word compromise. But a long distance relationship is hard in a different way. It just takes extra effort because every day you have to work to not only affirm the relationship within yourself, but also let the other person know that, like, you're still right there with them. Distance and time doesn't matter. So that's hard. So I got this paper about a year ago. This is Papyrus brand. in Cambridge, Massachusetts, there's a papyrus shop. And it's really beautiful paper. It's really thick paper, and it has this nice kind of gold leaf edge on the bottom. And this package comes with 100 sheets and 50 envelopes, and this is what the envelopes look like. Let me get one for you. So the envelope, and then the envelope also has the gold leaf on it. I don't know if you can really see that. And this pack cost me $25, I think. So it's kind of pricey, but you know, I feel like taking the extra effort to write a letter kind of calls for special paper. So writing letters, I know a lot of my shadow work has to do with relationships this year, because that was the complimentary card for the devil that I got, the lovers. So I'm kind of using the devil as my principal card, the shadow work card, and then the lovers is my complementary card. So what specific parts of shadow work, or what specific type of shadow work should I do? And it needs to be geared towards relationships. So I'm gearing it towards my relationship with my husband, because the long distance has really, sometimes it gets scary, just to be real. But also my relationship with my body, my physical body, making sure I'm taking care of myself. So letter writing, consider that, you know, even if you're just writing letters for yourself that you open like a year later, just to see how you've progressed, I think that would be an excellent exercise. Or writing letters to people for different reasons. I mean, I write basically love letters to my husband to just, you know, strengthen our relationship, and deal with adversity, you know. But you can write letters to friends. I also occasionally write letters to a friend from college that I'm still in contact with. Write letters to family members. Sometimes I'll write a letter to my sister. All sorts of stuff, all sorts of reasons to write letters. So letter writing and shadow work. So as far as my journals go, this is the oldest journal I have. I got it right before I turned 20. The date I have in here is November 21st, 2007. So that was like my sophomore year of college, I think. I just got it at Barnes & Noble. It's a leather, and it has this beautiful kind of old school European map style on it. And I would just write crappy poetry. I do sometimes feel inspired to write poetry, but believe me, I'm not ever going to be known as a poet. It's mostly just for me to express myself. I write reflections in here, but this is kind of one of those types of journals that will last you a decade because you only write in it once or twice a year. Or at least that's how it's been working for me. So this is more, you know, reflecting on life, not necessarily just witchy stuff or magic, but just reflecting on life and creative writing kind of stuff. So, something that I write in more frequently, which does have to do with shadow work, is a dream journal. This is by the Shinola company, and they sell products that are very similar to Moleskine products. And they're a little bit cheaper. They're still kind of pricey. Like a pack of 2 of these will cost $14, but it's from Detroit. So it's an American made and blah blah blah. You can probably find this anywhere where they sell Moleskine, like a Barnes & Noble. I got this at the University Bookstore, which is also like a Barnes & Noble kind of thing. So I started this in November, last November, and I'm guilty of sometimes forgetting to write in it, but if I have a really impactful dream, the first thing I do in the morning is I try to write it down. So, for example, I started this at the end of October, so On October 29th, I had 2 apocalyptic dreams. Actually, I dream about the apocalypse a lot, but a lot of my academic research has to do with apocalypse too. That's a different video. So maybe that's why. But yeah, so a dream journal. Dreams can tell you a lot. Dreams can be eye-opening. I've had dreams where dead relatives have come back and talked to me. I've had your typical anxiety dreams, like you're taking an exam and no matter what you do, you try to write on the exam and the pen never works and you fail it, or, you know, those kind of dreams. I have a lot of those types of dreams. But having the dream journal really helps because sometimes I get trapped in this, like, cycle of negative thinking, especially when I'm under a lot of pressure, especially at the end of the semester. And like I said earlier, writing it down just kind of externalizes it and makes it more objective. So, you know, you write your dreams down for a few nights and then you feel really crappy or depressed for a few days, and then you look over your dreams and you connect it to what's going on in your day-to-day life and realize, oh, well, I'm full of anxiety because, you know, I have to write 3 20-page papers in Spanish. Of course I'm going to feel stressed. Okay, that's normal. You know, it's not necessarily something wrong with me. It's just me dealing with the stress of fucking grad school. As far as my magical practice goes, this was my first journal that I started working with. This would be like a book of spells kind of thing. This is just where I write my magical thoughts and reflections, recipes for different ointments or herbal mixtures or different spells that I've done, and the process I went through for each spell as well as its outcome. So I'm actually close to finishing this. So today I bought myself a new one and I'm really excited. So this will be my new spell book, I guess would be what I'll call it. And this was only, how much was this? $8.99, so $9. And I got this at the Barnes & Noble / University bookstore. It's a little bit smaller, but it's green, and it has this beautiful Celtic design on the front. Maybe this light will help me. Ooh, that drowns me out. That's a little, kind of drowns me out, but it also kind of helps, I think. Maybe not. There we go. So, yeah, it just has lightly lined paper. You probably can't even see the lines on the paper. That's how faint they are. But it's a beautiful little notebook, and it was only $9. Now, of course, many of you have seen my videos about this guy. This is my book of magic and witchery. So this big beautiful book is where, not necessarily where I write specific spells, but I write my spiritual philosophies. I write some recipes for like ointments, salves, tinctures. I have an encyclopedia of magical ingredients in here that I've begun. It's mostly where I kind of like give the skeleton of my spiritual philosophies and practice. And then the spell book is more day-to-day workings. And lastly, these 2 journals I got at an art supply store. And I like it that they're very flexible and they have a very smooth cover. It almost feels like leather, but I don't think it is leather. It's by Strathmore, and I think they make like artist sketchbooks. And so I have one dedicated for like the mental and emotional aspects of shadow work. That's why the pages are gray in this light. kind of hard to tell the colors, but the pages are gray. There's no lines. So in this journal, if I ever catch myself having a negative thought where like I beat myself up, like I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I made a mistake coming here for grad school, I have doubts about this or that, or fears about this or that, like even sometimes just crazy thoughts that later on you think to yourself like, damn, I'm kind of embarrassed for thinking that. I write it down here just to like be legit with myself. It's reflections about, you know, the impact that fear and anxiety have on my physical health. What being a witch means to me. So this is where I'm upfront and honest with myself in this journal for spiritual and emotional, mental, those aspects of my shadow work. In this journal, where the paper's brown, again, lighting sucks so you can't really tell, but it's brown. It's the same company. It's just different colored paper. This is me connecting with my body. It is my physical health and well-being journal. So it's me writing down, you know, goals. My goals for preparing my body for possibly becoming a mother in like 2 or 3 years. It's my goals for keeping up with my yoga practice as, you know, meditation, but also connecting myself with my body, just being more aware with what's going on in my body. Goals for my diet. Listening to your body, it's so important because at least in Western modern medicine and even philosophical thought, we think that this is disconnected from all of this. And that's not true. Like, there are even some studies out there that show that your emotional health has to do or is connected to how healthy your gut system is, like your intestines and your stomach and everything. Like, so your intestines can affect your emotional health, you know? So it's kind of like reconnecting this and thinking of this as an entire unit, how whatever happens to my pinky toe can affect me up here, you know? So this is just me like learning to fall in love with my body, accept it, work with it, listen to it. And listening to your body can be a very scary process. It means, for me anyway, when I first started getting pain in my neck that would go all the way down into my fingers and hands, to the point where I developed some sort of weird like calcium deposit or something in my hand right here, and I would have chronic pain that like no pill could cure, basically. It took me a long time to face the fact that that physical pain that I was dealing with didn't necessarily have a physical cause. It was actually an emotional and mental cause to my physical pain, you know? My stress and anxiety would cause this debilitating pain. It was so bad at one point, like, I couldn't close my hand more than that, and I couldn't move my wrist more than that. I was constantly wearing a brace. It really fucked up. Like, I couldn't write my final papers for my classes. It was just horrible. So that listening to your body, it's where you kind of, sometimes you just have to relinquish control and just accept it the way it is. And the way it is beautiful, by the way, for everybody. But yeah, it's very scary. So I think writing shit down is going to help me It's going to keep me accountable for continuing to just let go and just listen. You know, not get caught up in the stresses of life to the point to where I have a debilitating pain on my right shoulder, hand, and wrist. So, yeah. So these are the paper tools that I have for my shadow work, and I'm going to continue to use them, and I'll keep you guys updated.